Hey, everybody. Happy day, happy life, happy journey. It is Thursday and it's time for Walking the Path. I'm super grateful to be here, to have the opportunity to share with you and talk to you and share with you a little bit about what's going on when the shift hits the fan. Okay, you know what I'm saying. That's our topic today, when the shift hits the fan. And this is, I'm going through stuff today, right now, that I want to share with you because I think when we are um, when we are going through stuff, that's when things are really powerful. That's when, hey, Alyssa, great to see you. That's when the rubber meets the road, right? Like, it's all great to talk about spirituality. Hey, Debbie, it's great to talk about principle and all this great stuff, but we're living our lives, right? We're living our lives, and we're experiencing stuff, and stuff doesn't go on. Hey, Jerry. Uh, Great. Yeah, brother, when the shift hits the fan, it can get serious up in here, let me tell you. So we're going to talk about that. What happens when the shift hits the fan? When something is shifting in your life and it feels so, hey, Amanda, and it feels so challenging. Maybe you're noticing old ways of being. Hi, Debbie, beautiful soul. Thank you for that. And here's what I've noticed this week, right? This is what's going down. A situation or a circumstance happened. And happy Thursday, everybody. And do you ever feel, here's the question, do you ever feel like you can't change or shift the way you're feeling, or you don't know why I don't know why I'm feeling this way? I had that experience this week. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Everything is good, but I'm feeling shitty in some way, or there's something happening. Well, here's what's going on. There's a neurotapestry that's occurring. This is a biochemical neurochemistry, neuropathway situation that's triggering our ways of being. So a situation or circumstance happens, right? Something happens, and it triggers an old way of being. I'm going to get into this example of it, but I want to go through the theory of it first, right? So something happens. Hey, Stella. Something happens and it triggers an old way of being. It triggers old neural pathways, the neurons that fire together, wire together. And so we have these old pathways, think about an animal path in the forest or in the jungle, right? It's a groove, right? You're literally in a groove. And so there's neural pathways that lead you down this groove. So you've got your five senses, and a situation occurs in the present, and your senses associate some aspect of that past situation with associate some aspect of your current situation with a feeling in the past, either something that you saw, something you heard, something you tasted, something you smelled, and the brain says, oh, that's similar to what we experienced before. It sends a message that this is the same scenario that I've experienced, and it has to feel this way, right? Because I've had this experience before. There's a few of the senses that indicate I'm having the same experience. So the brain releases neurochemicals in the body that is a particular emotional signature that is associated with that particular way of being, that particular neural pathway. And this is what it was familiar with the old situation or our experience. And because the body feels this way, in the situation, it feels the same, but it's not. And therefore, you're making the old situation feel real in the past. That's why we get to the point of, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Everything's fine, but I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? We want answers, right, to why we're feeling this way. Let me go through that again. Something happens, a particular situation or circumstance occurs. Something in our five senses, touch, taste, smell, feel, hear, triggers is familiar, right? It's familiar with that old way with an old circumstance. And now the brain releases neurochemicals. It sends a message that says, oh, same situation, we're going to react the same way. It releases those chemicals. It's a particular emotional signature that we have based on an old experience. And that old pattern, that old familiarity now feels the same in our current situation. We're literally bringing our past into the present, right? And now we don't know why we're feeling this way. These old thought patterns, we actually become addicted to these chemical reactions in the body. And the body now is leading the mind, right? Dig that. We're having an experience, and our body, neurochemical transactions in the body are now leading the mind. The mind, you're not thinking, you're feeling this, and it feels the same. And now we're feeling that old situation into our present circumstance. This is why behavior becomes so hard to change, even though we want to change our behavior. Even though I know this behavior, this compulsive behavior is bad, quote, bad, or doesn't serve me necessarily in being who I declare myself to be, but I can't change it. I can't stop smoking. I can't stop eating. I can't stop being negative. I can't, whatever it is. Why do I feel this way, right? Now, there's something looking to shift within you. Right? So there's an old circumstance, or a current circumstance is just a reflection of a shift that's occurring in your life. We are constantly evolving. The universe is expansive, and we are part of the universe. Therefore, we are expansive. So we're expanding constantly. And as we're expanding, we rub up against situations, but we relate it to some situation in the past and bring that past into the present, and it truncates or curtails our own expansion. So there is the description of what's happening biochemically in the body when old situations occur. I'm just noticing everybody who's chimed in. Kenneth, welcome. Maya, Doreen, Dion, Chaye, Michael Sakley, Kyle, wow, Aaron, Gary, Aunt, beautiful. Thank you all for joining. I'm so grateful you're here. So there's the explanation of what's happening physically in the body when something occurs. Now, what's the principle? The principle is that there is a law of ever-increasing good, that we are eternal beings, and that we are generative beings. Okay, those are the three spiritual principles that relate to this biochemical, biophysical reaction that's happening when a current situation triggers an old way of being, and we tend to bring that old pattern into our present, and it's limiting our expansion and growth. Now, what can we do? What can we do when we have, let me look at my notes. What do we do is we look at our notes. That's what we do. So what do we do? What's the practice? If the principle is that we live under a law of ever-increasing good, that we are eternal beings, and that the universe is expansive, therefore we are expanding, and we are generative beings. We are generative beings, meaning that we live and move and have our beingness in a creative energy that responds to our thinking. It responds to how we're feeling. This is why when we're bringing an old situation, an old feeling tone, an old feeling pattern, an old emotional signature from the past into our present, we're now recreating our present and bringing it into the future. We're recreating our past, bringing it into the present, and projecting it into the future. And now we get stuck in these old patterns, circular patterns. We keep coming back to the same thing, wondering why we can't stop doing it. So here's what we do. We must first become observers, right? We have to first become observers. Stella, hello, Gary. We have to become conscious. Yes, we have to become observers of our own mental states, our own feeling states. That's the first thing. How am I feeling? What's going on today? Oh, how do I feel? I feel sad. I feel angry. Do I feel this way in life? This is one of the things we teach at Rhythmia. Do I feel this way in life? When's the first time I remember feeling this way? And then how does that make me, as a result, who have I been? Right? Now we can start to see something about ourselves. Gustavo, hello. Enoch in the house, number 9, baby. So what do? We begin to observe our feelings. That's the first thing. Just become aware. Now we're at least coming back to the present. And then those, we have to become aware of our emotions that we're associating with external stimuli. Because here's the thing, something happens, the shift hits the fan, right? Something happens, there's a situation, there's a circumstance, something happens, and we respond to an external stimuli. Our only power is in the way we can respond to our external stimuli. That is our source of power. We can't change anything out there, any of the circumstances or opinions or situations that are occurring, but we can control the way we react to it. We can be aware of how we're responding to those external stimuli, and the way we regulate ourselves, the way we self-regulate how we're responding to external stimuli is our basis of power. That is where our power resides, and our ability to shift the course of a particular situation. So instead of looking to what's familiar, we've got to interrupt this emotional state. We have to go to what's unfamiliar. We have to go to, so here's some very practical things we can do, right? That we've got a situation that occurs. The principle is, we know the spiritual principles. We're expansive, eternal beings. The universe is expansive, therefore we're expansive. We're generative. We create our own reality, and the reality is an ever-increasing good. So if we're not experiencing that ever-increasing good, how do we get to that point? Here's how we do it. Here's the practice that's involved. Practice, interrupt your emotional state, shift to a new way of being. How do we do that? Move into the unknown. We got to move. We've got to go exercise. We got to move our bodies, take a bike ride, take a walk, shift, change the channel, go walk outside, move out of the situation, go talk to new people. Right? Talk to somebody new who can support you in being who you declare yourself to be. Right? Talking to someone who can help you process this, not talking to someone who's going to capitulate to your way of being and give you a pity party. That's not what we need. You need to talk to somebody who can hold the space for you so that you can speak into what you're experiencing and not allow you to drop into victim consciousness. Because when we ask the question, why do I feel this way? I don't know why I'm feeling this way. We move into something external outside of me is causing me to feel this way. We give up our power and we step into victim consciousness. So how do we move out of victim consciousness? First step is to become aware. First step is observation and awareness, right? And then one thing to do is talk to somebody, but talk to a practitioner, a spiritual practitioner. Talk to somebody who is expansive and knows the best no matter what the appearances are, right? That's what we're talking about. We want to know the best no matter what the appearances are. It doesn't matter. We're not saying that the circumstance or the appearance isn't real. We're saying that the unreality of the circumstance or appearance relies in how we interpret it. So talk to someone who can help you reinterpret this situation. Talk to new people. Go into the unfamiliar. Go to an unfamiliar position, oops, I didn't mean that. Go to an unfamiliar place. Go to move, put your body in an unfamiliar position. Do something to interrupt this way of being. Journal, meditate, you have to become a generator. You must become present, right? Come back to the present. Whatever can help you come back to the present. Becoming curious, becoming enthusiastic, becoming playful, right? Shifting that way of being. All of these ways are ways of coming back to the present, locating your power in the present, and altering an old neural pathway, an old emotional signature that is no longer serving you. Right? This is how we partake in the divine bounty. Because the truth is, nothing is being withheld from us. Nothing is being withheld. Candace, I am infinite love. I love it. Gary and David, thank you for your comments. Yes, absolutely. We must move into the unfamiliar so that we can get in touch with the eternal parts of ourselves. If the principle is that we're eternal beings, shifting our perspective, coming back to the present, helps us get in touch with the eternality of ourselves, because there's nothing but the present, right? There's nothing. The past is a dream and the future is a fantasy. All we have is the present moment. And in the present moment is our access to the eternal now. And in the eternal now is all of our power. Because in the eternal now, it's all happening now. Past, present, and future are all happening now. Instead of a horizontal, linear idea of time, we now shift it to a vertical aspect of time. And now I have agency and can move into different parts of this timeline. I can reconfigure my past and reconnoiter my future, right? That's when time is vertical instead of linear, we have power. How do we get time to be vertical instead of linear? Step into the now moment. So the practice is to become an objective dealer with the present moment. How do we become the observer, right? And there's an ancient question in meditation that says, Minor, hello, John Anthony, hello, beautiful. Be present now. I love, thank you, Candace and Aaron. Yes, a simple deep breath can help you shift anything that can help you come to the present. Thank you, Aaron. Beautiful. Come to the present moment, right? Be here now. I love that saying, that great book by Ram Dass. And frequently when I notice myself trying to get out and think about the future, I go, be here now. I was at this concert last night at the Hollywood Bowl. Herbie Hancock and a bunch of brand new young musicians that are, coming onto the scene with new talent, right? And there was a point where, it was getting to be like 10:30 and I'd been up since 4:30 in the morning and, I want to go to bed. And I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do when I get home? And it's like, whoa, I'm at this concert outside with a jazz legend and upcoming legends. Be here now. Be present now. How can I become more aware of this moment? Larry, I see your question. What is fear? I have an idea about that, but let me finish this and we'll get to that, Larry. So anchoring in the present moment brings us to the realization that we are able to take part in the divine bounty, because the principle is there's an ever increasing good. Nothing is being withheld from us and all things are available. Right? When we can short circuit what our senses have been telling us, right? So here's what we need to do. It's kind of going back to what Jesus was saying, people. Don't tarry with circumstance, right? You have to see, as Reverend Michael says, see with eyes beyond the eyes and hear with ears beyond the ears. We have eyes, not because we can see. We can see because we have the spiritual faculty of vision. Then our eyes reflect. So the physical manifestation is a manifestation of a principle, of an idea. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word became flesh. In the beginning, there was an idea, and the idea was manifest into matter. In the beginning, there was a vibrational frequency for what is a thought, but a unit of energy, a mental unit of energy. So in the beginning, there was a unit of energy, and that energy became matter. Well, that sounds like E equals MC squared to me. Right? Energy and matter are the same thing. They're just moving in different vibrational frequencies. And it's at the speed of light that things start, below the speed of light, things start to congeal into form. Above the speed of light, baby, it is vibration and frequency. And they're the same thing. Energy and matter are the same thing. So when we can when we can short circuit what our senses are telling us, and move into a deeper understanding of what's beyond our physical senses, we then touch the eternal. And it is in the eternal now that we have our power. And here, this is where the universe starts to respond. Here's the other principle. We live and move and have our beingness in a universe, in an energy, in a creative medium that responds to our thinking. So if we're in the past, associating our present situation with a past, we're bringing that past into the present and now creating our future based on a past circumstance, an old way of being. So and the universe is responding to our thinking. So what are you thinking? What are we thinking right now? The universe is a mirror, right? And we don't even have to do anything for it to mirror back to us what we're expressing. So we are powerful and generative creatures, and we are powerful and generative beings, eternal beings. And when we can become the observer of our mental state of being, we can shift our way of being in the midst of great shift, right? In the midst of great shift, we can change our way of being and now become present in the moment and create a future more than we could imagine. More good, more abundance, more prosperity, more peace, more joy, more of the experiences that we want in our lives, that our heart and soul are calling for, not living a rote life that is one where we're waiting for something to happen. Wow, there's been a lot of comments. Okay, let me look through. I want to get to John's, to Larry's question, what is fear? Okay, dig this. Here's a question. We're doing good on time. Here's a question. What is fear? Fear is an emotion, right? It comes up, and here's the thing. There are certain things it's good to be afraid of, right? And I personally am not a believer that I've got to put myself in a situation that causes me to be fierce so I can overcome something. Like, I don't need to jump out of a plane. If I wanted to, there was something in my heart that said, oh, you know what? I really want to jump out of a plane. And I was afraid. There's a way that we can deal with that. But fear in and of itself could be a very healthy thing. I don't want to walk down that dark alley in the middle of the night in some big city that I am not familiar with. Not a good idea. You know, fear is good. I don't want to, if I hear a growling, if I'm out on a hike and I hear a growling behind a rock, I don't want to be, that's not time for spiritual principle right there. That's time for, I'm going to go the other way, right? That's God-given gifts. Our senses are there to tell us that sort of stuff. So fear can be good. But when fear is stopping us from doing something that we love, for example, I want to learn how to surf. I don't know how to surf. And I want to learn how to surf. But last time I was in Costa Rica, I got caught in a riptide and it took me out and I got really scared. And it took me a long time to get in and I was really, really scared, right? So now I've associated that fear with surfing. And when I think about surfing, I get scared, right? So how do I deal with that fear? Well, here's the deal. We take that fear within something I want to do. Like I really want to learn how to surf, right? It'd be cool. I have the opportunity to live in Malibu and Costa Rica, surfing capitals of the world. Let's go surf, right? So now there's something good that I want to do. How do I deal with that fear? So you take the fear, and this is from a conversation that I had with Reverend Michael the last time he was in Costa Rica. It was brilliant. So I want to just thank you, Reverend Michael, for being my teacher. He said, you take that fear and you turn it into excitement. Right? Now I'm excited, right? But excitement for the sake of itself can lead to disappointment, right? So just being excited. So we need to first turn the fear into excitement. So the fear is in my stomach. I got something. Now I'm gonna reframe that as excitement. And now I turn that fear into excitement. And the next step is to move from excitement to enthusiasm. And here's why. The etymological root of enthusiasm is in theos. The Greek word theos is with God. When I am enthusiastic, I'm one with the source. When I'm enthusiastic, I'm one with the energy, creative energy in and through all of life. Now I've got power. Now I'm one with it, right? So I've changed from fear to excitement, excitement to enthusiasm. And now I can take that enthusiasm to the endeavor or the activity that I'm looking to do, right? But it's not just something I want to do for the sake of it, right? It's something that my heart is calling me to do, because we don't want to truncate fear, because there's very good circumstances when fear is appropriate, right? It's there to protect us. That's a good thing. Now, let's see here. What are some other comments? Amanda's been suffering from back issues. Okay. Okay, Amanda, I want to talk to you offline about that. Nicholas, hello. Looking at Rim, Jerry. Okay, all good comments. I basically want to just say how great it is to talk to you guys. The principle, so when circumstance or situation, we're going to do a quick recap. Circumstance or situation happens, it triggers old neural pathways, initiates old thought patterns that activate biochemical reactions in the body. And because the body is used to feeling this way, it's almost like an addiction, and the body starts leading the mind. That's why behavior is so hard to change, and why we get stuck in the question, why am I feeling this way? And what we can do to the practice, the principle is that everything is unfolding for our good and ever increasing good, and that we are eternal beings, and that we are generative beings. And how do we take that principle and turn it into a practice? The practice comes from observation and doing something to interrupt the way we're thinking. So first we have to go, oh, I don't know why I'm feeling that way. And how do I shift that? The first thing is to become aware of the feeling that you're having. Then allow yourself to feel that way. Don't try to bypass it, right? And then begin to move into the unfamiliar, doing something unfamiliar. Move your body in a different way, talk to somebody, meditate, pray, journal, go to the unfamiliar, talk to new people, put yourself in a new situation, interrupt that old thought pattern. Become curious, enthusiastic, and playful. And that will bring you back to the present moment where we have our power, because the only power that we have is in the present as we interpret the external stimuli that are occurring for us. That's where our power lies. Don't give your power away. All right, that's our Facebook Live for today, when the shift hits the fan, baby. So grateful to have this opportunity. I'm really grateful for this beautiful community that we're building. I'm so grateful that you guys come back on on Thursdays. I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you, Jerry, for this opportunity to be able to express myself and share this with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love, peace, blessings. Let the shift hit the fan. Let the cards fall where they may, because only good is unfolding for us, and our power is in the now. God bless you. Peace and richest blessings.